I feel like this is an appropriate time to introduce to you, if you haven't heard it yet, the most wonderful song based on this movie I have ever heard. Bustin'.
There's something weird sleeping in your bed. Oh, let me tell you something. Bustin' makes me feel good. Oh.
Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today our movie in the middle is Ghostbusters 2 Monsters Unleashed. Wait a minute. No, hold on. Wait. No, sorry. Ghostbusters Afterlife. Ghostbusters Afterlife is the actual, genuine, direct sequel to the original two Ghostbusters, and it stars McKenna Grace, Finn Wolfhard, Carrie Coon, and Paul Rudd. This was such an enjoyable movie. I already knew it was going to be a good amount of fun because rewatching the original Ghostbusters, I realized it's like an iconic classic movie, but it's not so serious that you can't enjoy it. It is a very genuinely fun movie with some pretty funny or even stupid moments. And so that's what makes it enjoyable, even in the cheesy moments. And this one, I knew they were going to do the same thing, that they were going to actually make it good, but fun, and not too serious, but not, too stupid. The story is really interesting. It's got a lot of intriguing moments. I really can't say what it's about because it's basically a spoiler from the beginning, but it is a really cool reboot to this original series. Because not only is it about this plot that I can't talk about, but along the way they're figuratively and sometimes literally unearthing a lot of these Ghostbuster references that have been, I don't want to say dead, but dead for 40 years now. So it was cool getting to see all those references again. It actually sort of reminded me of The Force Awakens or Jurassic World, that kind of way that they went with a reboot, instead of it being like a direct sequel with like the main four in it as the cast. They have like a new family, a bunch of new characters, and they sort of rediscover everything that we knew from the first two Ghostbusters. And I have to say, I really did like these new characters. They were really fun. They have a group of kids who sort of, they pass the torch onto them as, I guess, sort of the new Ghostbusters, like Ghostbusters Gen Z. McKenna Grace is awesome. I love her and everything that she's in. She plays a very quirky, science-loving kid who is not like the other kids, especially considering she's going to summer school and all the other kids are just watching movies, and she's like, hey, that looks like a topographical map of a volcano or something. I don't know. But she was awesome. She was so endearing. She's basically like April from Gilmore Girls, except if I hated her way less. She is like kind of the heart and soul of this movie, and she is also the main character, which is a little weird because in the poster, she's sort of in the back because they were pushing other actors towards the front, like Finn Wolfhard, who I'm not a huge fan of him. Mike from Stranger Things is not my favorite character, but I will say in this, he did a really good job. He was tolerable for me. He didn't act like a little shit for most of it. Even the mom, she's kind of a mom who, she's not the best, because she's had some past troubles with her own family, but she was still a very interesting character. She's trying, but she made for some funny scenes. And then, of course, this movie's gotta be the best because you've casted the sexiest man alive, Paul Rudd. Genuinely, I do not think that anybody can hate Paul Rudd. First of all, if you didn't hate him in the 80s, you can't hate him now because apparently time never changes for him. But also the fact that he is so funny. Seems like a genuinely nice person. He was awesome in this movie. He's, again, just like the punchlines of everything, just the way he puts over a line. He was really great as his own character because he's just super nice to everybody. He's Paul Rudd in a Ghostbusters movie. So another thing I really loved about this movie is that it is the first movie in a long time where I have watched it and thought, this feels like a Spielberg movie. It's directed by Jason Reitman, the son of Ivan Reitman, who directed the first two Ghostbusters. So I thought that was really cool as well. The way that it's directed and the lighting and everything feels like it was made by Steven Spielberg in the 1980s. Like, it's very E.T., like it's got a lot of spotlights, and Spielberg is a spotlight guy. It's got a lot of those desk lamps, and it's, kind of shadowy, but it's got those like harsh lights. It felt very science fiction. Even the music kind of went along with that. And I almost wonder if he was part of their mood board for this, because it felt very much like the stuff that he does, which was really cool and layered even more nostalgia onto this movie. One last thing that I really loved about this movie is they did a very good job of addressing things that have happened in the last couple decades, not specifically in the canon of the movie, although they do that as well, but in real life. They very tastefully had a great nod to Harold Ramis. It was very emotional, and I thought it was great. So the one thing I will say in terms of the way that they went with it in terms of being a reboot is that, kind of like Star Wars and Jurassic Park, it almost sort of feels like the same movie as the original done over again. There are parts that are kind of repetitive, but there's so many new things as well. I didn't really care, because it wasn't really until halfway through the movie that I was like, oh, okay, there's some similar things to the original here. And there was a lot of new stuff kind of layered on top of it as well. But I will say, after talking with a few people after I saw the movie, I never realized that it could have honestly gone one of two ways. This entire movie could have been structured as one thing or another. I don't want to say what those two things are, because it would kind of ruin some stuff. It really depends on which way you wanted it to go. Like, not even in terms of the ending, but just in terms of how you wanted them to go into writing this movie. That's all I can really say. So I didn't have an issue with it, because I thought it was extremely well done the way they did it. I loved seeing new characters. I loved seeing cool references to the stuff. It was really nostalgic. It depends on really what you wanted from this direct sequel. I also have just a few nitpicky things. I really can't list them all out. It was just really, really small stuff. One of them is that the inciting incident feels to be a little like, why in the hell would you even do that? You know, it's like, it can't really start the movie till they do this one thing, but it seemed kind of dumb that they would do that thing because they knew what the stakes were. I don't know, it was kind of weird. There's also a couple cameos, and not even the ones that you think I might be talking about, but there's one from a character who's in it for about 3 seconds, and I'm like, why? The character that they play, I wasn't even sure exactly what they were. Like, they explained it in like a sentence, but I don't know, it just was weird to me. It felt kind of like it stuck out, like I didn't really understand the point of it. So overall, Ghostbusters Afterlife was a major shock for me, because I went into this movie thinking, it looks okay, it looks like it's going to be fun, it looks like just another generic reboot, it's probably not going to be great. But honestly, I enjoyed the crap out of it. I really did. It may have like one or two small teeny issues, and really that depends on what you wanted to see out of this movie going into it, but I had no expectations, so I really liked it. It was super fun, it's very funny, it gives you that nostalgia for the 80s, for Ghostbusters, for science fiction. For the hardcore fans of this, I think they're really gonna love it. I think overall it was really well done and very tastefully done as well. I'm gonna give Ghostbusters Afterlife a 3.5 out of 4. Guys, let me know what you thought about Ghostbusters Afterlife. I think it's a really fun movie. You should definitely go see it if you haven't had the chance to yet. And as always, keep your hopes high, your stress low, and movies right in the middle. I'll see you guys later.